Today we're going to look at 5 different DIY camping beds that were made entirely out of EMT conduit and maker pipe fittings. If you're unfamiliar with those materials, EMT conduit is something you can get off the shelf. It's made of steel. It's really easy to work with. You can bend it with a handheld pipe and tube bender. You can cut it really easily with a handheld rotating pipe and tube cutter. And it's a really great material. And we actually manufacture connectors in upstate South Carolina that people from all over the country use with conduit to build all kinds of awesome things, from greenhouses and gardens all the way to camping beds. And today we're going to showcase 5 different ideas for beds that community members have built and shared with us in the past. And there's a lot of great ideas. I love doing these. I love camping and love seeing these. So let's just jump in and check out these different ideas. This first one was from a while ago. This is about 4 years ago that Tim shared this. We actually did a build interview with him, and he talks about this really in great detail. So you can check that out if you're interested. But this is such a great idea, and kind of what kicked off the Maker Pipe and the Vanlife community for beds, because he shared some really great ideas for making beds, and this is for his RV, but a lot of Vanlifers and other campers have picked up and used this idea. But this is really cool. So essentially he wanted to extend an existing bed frame that he already had, and he had this wooden bed frame that you can see here. And what he did was he got some PVC that is larger than the EMT conduit that he used for the build. And this PVC that's larger is strapped down to the wooden bed slats using 2-hole straps for the PVC. And that's just holding a bunch of those in place. You can see it's strapped in the front and in the back there. And then he's got this EMT conduit slider that slides in and out of the PVC there. And he just essentially used the maker pipe connectors. This is back whenever we were able to get black connectors locally. Well, we make the connectors here in our shop, but we would get the coating for them, the black coated locally, but we're not able to do that anymore. That's why we only have silver. But this is back whenever we had black, but you can use the same connectors, of course. They'll just be a different color. But essentially he used a 90-degree connector here to add these legs on the outside, on the edge. And then he used the maker pipe T connectors to add the actual main part of the bed frame that slides in and out of the PVC. And then there you have it. He can remove the legs there and then slide that slider all the way in and then slide it all the way out to have the bed made, which is really cool and just a really fantastic idea. And like I said, this inspired a bunch of other community members to make beds. So that's really cool. So thanks so much, Tim, for sharing this a while back. Really appreciate it. Next up is a more recent one from Rob, and this is really awesome. This is for his Honda Pilot. He made a really simple bed frame here. It looks like just a really, really simple one, because it's just the maker pipe connectors here. We can see the 90-degree connectors being used in the corners, which, if you can't tell, it just allows you to join 3 pieces of conduit together. He has the one running through the middle of the connector all the way to the other side. And then he's got the other 2 pieces, the one that's going from side to side here, and then the one that goes down to the bottom, the vertical, the leg down to the bottom of the bed there. That is all with a 90-degree connector. And then it looks like he's using, probably, if I had to guess, another 90-degree connector in the middle there, which would just add that that support from one side to the other in the middle. Or he could just be using a T connector to add a leg there. Maybe it doesn't have that crossbar across because you don't want that to interfere with the slats there and the bendiness of them, so you have a comfortable bed. Then he looks like he is using a really cool method for attaching the slats, or kind of keeping them in place. It looks like he used the 1-hole straps that are really inexpensive and commonly available with the EMT conduit. He's got that just hooked onto the EMT conduit. It looks like he has a piece of like paracord or something, kind of knotted and tied around the 1-hole strap, and then those are running through the individual pieces of the slats to kind of hold those in place and kind of guide them in place there. Of course, they can still move around. It's not the strongest connection with that 1-hole strap, but it's going to help a lot in keeping those in place, because that's the last thing you want when you're traveling to the campsite. You don't want this, bouncing all over the place and the slats falling off. That's super annoying. So this is really cool to be able to keep all the slats together and kind of keep them kind of in place while you're moving and while you're sleeping. So that's really awesome. And here we can actually see the bed in place, which is really cool. And it looks like he just takes out the second and third row seating and then just has this bed frame in place all the time. And just allows him to go camping, which is just really fantastic. That's what we love about making our connectors and sending them to people, is they're able to make custom solutions like this and get what they're after, which is really awesome. And I really appreciate you sharing this, Rob. Awesome job. Next up is a custom couch slide-out bed. And this is very similar to a design that we actually did a full video on for a van that I had a few years ago. And essentially this entire thing is made out of EMT conduit. And it's kind of similar to Tim's original design. Like I said, he inspired a lot of great beds in the community. This is really cool, where he used 1-inch EMT conduit for the main part of the frame, as we can see here. And he's using various maker pipe connectors. See the 90-degree connector. We got the maker pipe T connector in 1 inch there. We've got the 180-degree connector, and essentially it's kind of similar in the fact that to Tim's bed, where it has the larger diameter tubing on the outside that the 3/4 inch slider extension goes in and out of. So essentially, the way he's doing that is with the 180-degree connector, which allows you to have this piece of conduit. Let me go back here. And allows you to essentially have this piece of conduit running continuously through it. So you got the larger piece of conduit going all the way down, and then it's open right here so that the 3/4 inch EMT conduit can slide in and out of that all the way to the end on the other side, and then all the slats are positioned that way, which allows them to have this extension sliding in and out, similar to Tim's design, but it's just all with EMT conduit and maker pipe connectors. So that's really cool, and essentially here it is kind of in this mode where, it's kind of couch mode, and then he also made it where, of course, this slides out, and he can make the whole bed, but he also made it where it's able to rotate up in the air. And I think he's just utilizing the fact that the connectors are friction-based. You don't have to do any welding or drilling when you use maker pipe connectors, but you do, but they do rely on friction, which means, they do swivel and hinge if you have enough weight and pressure, which essentially here he's got this really heavy bed. So I imagine he's able to just kind of grab the bed and then just rotate it and swivel it up inside of this T-connector here, just because of the friction-based, connection there. And essentially he's just holding the verticals in place there with 2-hole straps attached to the wood and then a maker pipe flange bolted to the floor there. That kind of helps add some stability, but the whole thing folds up, as you can see there, which is really cool. Here's a close-up shot of that. There's an awesome shot of the bus. It looks fantastic. And then here we can go back through and see there's the extension slid out. There it is in couch mode. Here it is kind of in the fold out bed mode, and then there it is when it's kind of in couch mode, which is really fantastic. Again, just love seeing these custom solutions, and this is just really awesome. So thanks so much for sharing this, Paul. Really awesome job. Next up is a really cool one. This is kind of a fold-away bed that was put together by Jim, and we actually did an interview with Jim a while back. You should check that out because it's got a lot of great info in there, and he did something really awesome, which was create a DIY toy hauler. This is really cool. Those are really expensive things usually, but he made one out of EMT conduit, plywood, and just a ton of great techniques. But a part of that build specifically was this bed that he made. So if you're unfamiliar, a toy hauler allows you to put the four-wheeler inside of the toy hauler, and then also you can have one kind of on the back of the trailer as well. So if you're hauling more than one, you have room inside what you're actually going to be camping in. And so that's essentially what he made. And because of that, it needs to have room inside of there for the four-wheeler or the ATV. And so he's got this fold-away bed that he created with maker pipe. And essentially, just 3/4 inch EMT conduit, similar connectors that we've seen, the 90-degree connectors there. You've got the T connectors for the slats going across. But then something really unique is he used the end clamp piece. That's a part of a few different connectors, but you can buy just the end clamp. And he's got 2 of those bolted together to create this hinge here in the middle. So he can fold the bed frame over kind of in half there and take up less space and probably, kind of lean it up against a wall or something. That takes up a lot less room, and it kind of works out great for what he's doing here. So that's really cool and a really smart technique. We can see more T connectors and 90s. He also braced it in the middle, which is smart, of course, with he's got adjustable angle connectors, adding the angled bracing there on the side legs as well as in the middle there too. So, of course, you want plenty of support while you're sleeping. That's a really good idea and just an awesome job, with this fold-out design. Not really something we've seen before, but makes a ton of sense, of course, for this specific build for this toy hauler camper. So really cool, Jim. Thanks so much for sharing this, and thanks again for doing that interview. And you guys should definitely check that out if you're interested. Last but not least is a really great idea. This one is also, was built a while back. This is another interview that we did. This was Jason from Element DIY, and he made this bed frame for his Honda Element that slides in and out there, you can see. And he essentially used the same kind of functionality that we saw from Tim and from the couch, where you slide in and out because you're using the larger diameter tubing. And essentially, he's using 3/4 inch EMT conduit for the main frame here, and then he's got a 1/2 inch EMT conduit slider that goes in and out of the frame, as you can see there. And that's really awesome. And he also shared, tons of videos. Like I said, we did that interview that you can check out, but we'll see some photos here from a while back that he did that shows some of the progress. But essentially, he's got that metal frame that slides out, and you have that extension that slides out, and then he's got a piece of plywood that also has some piano-style hinges there, as you can see, and those just, allow the plywood to fold over. And then he also incorporated a drawer in this, and just a really cool design and lots of cool stuff in this. and is really unique. And just one of those builds that kind of showcases the fact that you can customize and get exactly what you're after, whether it's building a kitchen into the bed, whether it's making an extension that you saw where his folded out or kind of slid out and then folded over to get, an even bigger bed. And this all fits in his Honda Element. So really cool. And these are just some of the possibilities that you can do with the EMT conduit and maker pipe. I hope you guys enjoyed these ideas. If you have any questions or comments about a bed that you're making, feel free to leave those down below or reach out to us on the website. Give us a call, whatever you need to do. We're here and happy to help. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next video.